This is Jordan Edwards, and this is the Business Jiu Jitsu Podcast.
I'm here with Jamie Giovinazzo, the legendary founder of Eat Clean Bro. Jamie and I came together through one of the greatest humans on this planet, a dear friend of mine, and one of Jamie's, Sal Vitale, someone I ever think I'll get on this podcast, but Sal is runs and is the family business of what I consider to be the best pizza in the whole world. Now, Jamie, if you have the best pizza in New York, that makes it the best pizza in the world, right?
Pizza is... Here's the thing about pizza, right? Because I'm a Jersey guy. I grew up with pizza. Pizza is a very important part of the culture in New York, obviously. But then you have excellent pizza in Connecticut. You have excellent pizza in New Jersey. You know, you have, obviously, you got the Brooklyn people. God forbid, man. There's, you know, when it comes to pizza, Brooklyn's its own country. Staten Island has great pizza. So what I will say about pizza when, you know, if you talk about the New York City slice, right, everybody has their own preference. There's a lot of big names that come up. But I do say that if you were going to describe the New York slice, I would say Joe's is the epicenter of what a New York City slice should be. So that's what I'll say. I think Joe's is excellent, but everybody has a different opinion on what the best slice is. So if you're a tourist coming to New York and you want to try a New York slice of pizza, you go to Joe's because you get that baseline New York slice, you get the crunch, it's delicious. I mean, it's amazing. Like pizza is like a beautiful person, right? Like a beautiful woman or a beautiful guy. Like everybody has a preference on who is like the most beautiful actor in Hollywood. So pizza is very similar because, you know, everybody.
Jamie, are you going to go into politics with this answer after you're done with with building your company? I think you're ready for the political stage with your how diplomatic you've been about pizza.
You know what, dude? Maybe I will get into politics. You know, I would love to bite back.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. You know, so many people got their hand in my ass. Maybe it'd be nice to put some hands in someone else's ass or something. But
yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do politics. But the whole thing with pizza, man, is it's serious. Like, you know, it's just a fucking war out here. You can't just go and start talking shit about pizza or something because, like I said, the Brooklyn people, I made a fucking post about how good Connecticut pizza was, and there were fucking Brooklyn people in my DM. I thought they were going to come to my house and fucking kill me and my family. Yeah. So it's a big topic, man. Pizza is it's a big topic.
Well, our buddy Sal
aren't you a New York guy?
I'm a New York guy. I mean, I'm
yeah. You know, so you know.
I know. I want to shout out our boy Sal. You know, he put us together, and I personally will go on record and stay out of my DMs. But I think that Joe's Pizza is the best pizza in the world, and I think it's better than Sally's in New Haven. Different, of course, but you know. But I'm not in the food industry. You're in the food industry.
Yeah, like there's a lot to. There's a lot to take into consideration when you're claiming the best. I think Joe's is the best. I love Joe's. But I do know that a lot of people have fucking opinions, and I do know that you cannot what is so in jiu-jitsu, right? You want to put yourself in a good position. It's all about position.
It's all about
now
position.
When I say Joe's Pizza is the fucking epicenter of what a New York City slice should be, that doesn't give you much room to fucking argue with me because like Joe's is identifying what the New York slice should be. So when I say that, like whether you're from Brooklyn or Staten Island or wherever the fuck you're from, like Giordano's in Chicago, right? Everybody talks about Giordano's, or they used to anyway, in Chicago. Like that's where you go if you want to try a deep dish Chicago pizza, right? Like. But then the Chicago people will argue, where's the best deep dish? Well, if you're a fucking tourist and you're in Chicago for 3 days, you want to get a pizza one of those days, like you don't have fucking time to go all over the world. So, man, I just, maybe I should go into politics, dude. I'm talking in circles. I'm not getting anything accomplished.
It's all good, man. When I met you, you stormed into the room, a presence, a man dropping one-liners that could be $1 million t-shirts. Before I knew who you were or what you did, I said, fuck, this guy is like, a magnetic, electric. Later on in the day, as we continued to hang, I found out who you are and what you do. And I was aware of Eat Clean Bro because of my connection to jiu-jitsu and the jiu-jitsu world. And so many guys represent Eat Clean Bro. You see it all the time. It's like one of their sponsors or they're promoting it. And you have a deep connection into the martial arts community. And you're friends with a lot of these guys. Frankie Edgar, you've been on his podcast, and you know all these guys. You did some wrestling yourself, right?
Yeah, I wrestled in high school. I always joke. I say that I wrestled at an elite level, but I say I wasn't good at an elite level, but I wrestled with guys who were elite. And so, yeah, I mean, I did wrestle at a high level. I wasn't good at a high level, but I was there training with those guys. So, yeah, I know what goes into being a bad motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're a big boy. How big are you? You're like at least 6'2", 6'3"?
I'm like 6'1", probably. I could probably lie, like the basketball players, and say I'm taller, but I'm 6'1".
I read you like
265 right now.
Yes, I read you like 6'2", 265. I'm 6'2". We're basically the same height. And I'm 215, and you made me look like someone's little brother.
Yeah, I got some meat, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Got some meat on these bones. I love to eat. I do like to lift, so. But, yeah, I made friends with Frankie Edgar back in like 2013. And we had a lot of mutual friends from the wrestling community. The Shore Conference in New Jersey is a really dedicated group of individuals. Just even the people in New Jersey that don't like each other, everybody's close and respectful, and it's a tight knit community. So I guess when I was hitting up Frankie, I messaged. It's so funny. Like they're like, "How did you get hooked up with all these celebrities?" Well, I did get lucky with most of them, like with Lala and all the really famous people I cook for that are outside of the like jiu-jitsu fight world. But with Frankie, I had just reached out to his email on his Instagram. Like it was like Frankie Edgar at frankieedgarmanagement.com or one of those emails. And his wife answered, and we were like going back and forth for a while. And then like one day after like weeks of months or whatever, persistence, like trying to get to meet Frankie, I said, "Hey, look, I'm just going to stop by and drop off some meals. I don't want anything, but just see if you like them." So they said yes. I drove down to Tom's River. I dropped off meals, and one thing led to another, man. And I got to meet Frankie, and then Frankie's, started liking me. And one thing led to another, man. Started cooking for him. Then I got like set up with Nick Catone, Steve Rivera. I'm trying to think back. Started getting hooked up with all those guys. Henzo Gracie started to like me too. I think I started feeding his how the fuck? Yeah, started hanging out with Henzo. Then I started cooking for.
Do you have any relationship with Ricardo Almeida? He's been on this podcast.
Yeah, Ricardo is the man. So all those guys.
Ricardo and I were talking about like the place that you live. Like you live in this crazy hotbed of martial arts and jiu-jitsu between Philadelphia and New York. And like between Philadelphia and New York, there's just like Ricardo Almeida, Tom DeBlas, and it was all these guys, Gary Tonin, Nicky Rod, Gordon Ryan, like basically all the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world and some of the best MMA guys in the world live in this little region of the world. And then I look at you and you're like a linebacker. What the hell is in the water in New Jersey?
So I'll tell you, they did a study on rats, and it applies. So like this really applies to martial arts. So back in like the old days when they were doing kung fu, inner city, right? I think it was from Japan or China, wherever the fuck kung fu comes from. The inner city kung fu would be this tight, tight striking, tight kicks, tight punches. Everything was tight because it reflected the environment that they came from. And then out in the country, there was all these like beautiful looping kicks and looping strikes and lots of space in their striking. I believe in New Jersey, because we're so fucking densely populated. You know, the study they did on rats, when you confine a rat into a fucking tight space, it pisses them off. When you give the rat space to lounge out and live, it's not, man. So I just think, like, I think between being densely populated, you got all these piss off people and everyone's trying to kill each other all the time. I just think it just breeds killers. So
Yeah.
that's my little story and science
That's a-
behind my answer.
That's a very, very good and well thought out answer. And I would even add that, you know, being sandwiched in between two mega cities like Philadelphia and New York City, you know, it definitely creates a pressure cooker. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I remember, man, I got hooked up with Gary Tonin. Oh, you know, one of my buddies, Keith, retired cop, huge into jiu-jitsu. He's like, bro, you got to get Gary, man. He's like the best in the world. And I didn't really realize how good he was, but I was like, yeah, you know. And I'm talking to Gary, and Gary's like, man, I just love Wawa subs. I'm like, Gary, bro. He's like, no, man, I'm good. I'm good with my subs. I never started cooking for Gary. He makes jokes. I mean, he was very open with me about what he liked eating and shit. I thought it was super funny. But yeah, he's fucking good, that guy. And
oh wow, he's great.
But yeah, we cook for Nicky Rod for a real long time. But now he's traveling all over the place.
Yeah,
and
those
then
guys
I
all
never
moved to
got
Austin.
I never got hooked up with Gordon Ryan, but I'm just so happy. Like, it's so funny watching him, bro. He's the ultimate troll, and he never loses. So it's just so funny. Like he is so funny, dude.
He's a great dude, and he really helped me launch this podcast. So I have to give him a big shout out and thank you, because he brought me. He came on, gave me a shot, and really helped put this out to a lot of people. And also then he brought his coach on, John Donaher, who's one of the best coaches in the world, and so they contributed to this podcast and this book that I'm writing. And I just am eternally grateful to the both of those guys and to you. So let me ask you, your story is very well documented in very long formats on a lot of podcasts and videos. But like, if you could just give me the quick version of your starting in Eat Clean Bro, and like the name, and you were even telling me when we were hanging out together, you said to me something along the lines of like, who names their company Eat Clean Bro? I was like, every single consultant, every single business person in the world would tell you not to do it. And you're just so authentically you that it's like, it's incredible. So if you don't mind, just give me a little summary.
Starting a business, right? My grandmother used to tell me the stories about the three little pigs, and it's very important. You know, I've seen the rise and fall of many entrepreneurs, and one of the cracks in the foundation is if like you're an actor, or you're trying to create this facade, or you're trying to be somebody you're not, that someday catches up to you in a big way. I mean, we're seeing it with cancel culture. We're seeing it with all this shit going on in the world. So you got to be true to who you are this day and age. And I knew that well before all this shit started hitting the fan. And I knew at that point in my life, man, I just didn't want to be a loser. I didn't want to be poor. I didn't need to be a millionaire. I just needed to have something, like I needed to have a purpose in my life. And so my dad came up with the name Eat Clean Bro. And I thought, he's like, you know, that's all you say. Why don't you say it? And I said, you know what? Like, I was thinking like this is a clear representation of how I talk and who I am and what I believe in. It's easy to remember and it's easy to spell. So I thought it was a great domain name, because who can't spell out Eat Clean Bro? My last name's Giovinazzo. Nobody could ever fucking say it or spell it. And I knew I needed to have something easy to spell, easy to remember. And
not too many names out there with two Z's.
yeah, so it worked. You know, it's a great name. It's easy to remember, and in a short time, I became like a household name. With it's pretty remarkable, actually.
It's incredibly remarkable.
Yeah, it usually takes people like 25, 50 years to do what I did in like 18 months.
What year did you start it?
So it started right the second week of January 2013, January 13th, 2013.
Right after Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom, my grandmother, my uncle were deadly. Where I grew up is gone. My house that I grew up in is gone. My grandmother and grandfather, you know, started their life after World War II. raised all my mom, my aunts, my uncles in that house, and it's gone. And that was a really tough time for me. So I feel like I reached my fucking absolute rock bottom breaking point with being just financially unable to help anyone in my family, seeing all the pain and devastation they went through. And that was a big motivating force to get off my ass and fucking make something of myself. You know, I never wanted to be in that position ever again. I never wanted to feel helpless, like that, ever be financially helpless, you know? So that was a big fire. So
have you had other times of adversity that have like made the business boom? Have there been other parts? Like my business started after the recession, and Hurricane Sandy was a massive formative moment because we were Long Island based. We almost got wiped out. We didn't do business for 3 months. And then when COVID struck, it really helped me make our business actually better because it allowed me to go hire better people who got laid off and open stores because so many businesses went out. So like you were founded in the wake of Sandy. Like, do you find like adversity has made your company better?
Yeah, I mean, that's just who I am, dude. You know, I've been knocked down. You know, knocking me. You can knock me down, but you can't keep me down. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with getting knocked down sometimes, but you just can't stay down. So, obviously, yeah. I mean, that's like the wrestler mentality. You know, you lose, you wrestle back for third, no matter what, and that's just like a principle that's been instilled deep into my body, so into my mind. But as far as COVID goes, obviously online orders, you know, people were hoarding food. We exploded with business, but there's a give and a take. So COVID has advanced e-commerce delivery businesses. So there's more business, but there's more competition, and there's a lot more just startup companies with massive funding, blazing coupons, and it's just getting a little bit, you know, I feel like the prepared meal industry is reaching some sort of a market saturation, and like the coupons and everything that these other companies are doing, I don't think they're sustainable. But like, if you just keep doing rounds and you just keep raising money, you know, like I read some startup like Cook Unity or something just got like 47 million. Man, I feel like they just started, and I don't know how much of their company they sold, but now I got somebody else to compete with who's just got fucking 47 million in their checking account. You know, it's annoying. Like,
yep. Well, let me ask you a question.
It's like trying to do a jiu-jitsu tournament, and you go out on the mat and now you got to fucking do their whole team. You know, it's not one-on-one.
That's a very good way of putting it.
None of this shit is fair. You know, I'm a self-funded entrepreneur, dude. I started A Clean Bro with $300 fucking dollars. Built a fucking empire on my own, and I got to just keep I just got to keep competing, dude. Just, you know, it's all strategic moves. It's all sound moves. Shit, who wouldn't want $47 million to fuck around with and make hires and just do fucking unload coupons and operate at a loss? You know, if I operate at a loss, I operate at a loss. I go out of business. These other guys just account for it. They're like, yeah, we're gonna run at a loss for 4 fucking years. Like, I don't know, man. You know what? I'm all self-taught. I dropped out of fucking community college, so maybe if I stayed in a little longer, it makes sense to me. But
you said something to my wife and I that's become her like mantra, and it's you don't need a college degree to sell chicken.
Yeah, you know? A lot of people would try to talk me out too. They'd be like, "Well, you don't have a fucking you're not a registered dietitian. You're not this." I go, look. Does the kid at McDonald's know every fucking ingredient in the cheeseburger? Because I know every single one of my ingredients, right? I don't need a fucking college degree to sell fucking chicken, man. Like, when you start telling people your dreams initially, everyone's going to try to talk you out of it because they have their insecurities and they just can't live with themselves seeing someone else fucking succeed at their dreams. Like, yeah, now I don't even tell, like, sometimes I'll tell, like, you know, successful people, I'll tell them what I got going on, but I always make the joke, like in 2013, if I told you I was like, whatever, basically, dude, people would laugh at me no matter what I said in 2013. But now, 2021, if I told somebody I'm going to the moon, they would stop and they would be like, well, how are you going to do it? You know, they wouldn't just laugh at me. Even though I could be talking out of my ass at this point. Now people stop and say, whoa, well, Jamie, how are you doing? What are you doing? But now I laid that fucking foundation of like, I'm a motherfucker who gets shit done. So, but you know, I just went off here.
No, I love what you're saying. You did go off for a second. I'm going to take it back because you touched on something that I think is so valuable for people who want to start. and they look at the competition and they're like, this guy's funded. This guy did a Series A. Just like you, I'm a family business. You know, it's my sister and I. We started this, and we've never been funded. We've never taken any other money. We own 100% of the business. I was talking to a marketing guy this week. He's like, what's your exit plan? I was like, my exit plan? I'm building my business. I'm not having an exit plan. Maybe I'll sell it one day if I'm lucky, but all the people that work for me are like family, you know? And so my point was, and what you said, it doesn't impress me when someone raises 100 million and then they lose 150 million. I'm not impressed when you get 100 million and you can go out and hire the best people, set it up from the beginning perfectly. You got everything figured out. You hire 3 Harvard MBAs, and then you raised 100 and you lost 150. Sorry, that doesn't do it for me. I've seen it happen in time and time again. So to your point about these competitors of yours, when I started Mixology Clothing Company, one of my businesses, we saw like this competitor, Nasty Gal. They had this meteoric rise, and they were backed by private equity, and they were making all these decisions and going on sale. And we were saying to ourselves, how are they doing this? How are they able to discount? How are they able to do all this just to drive? And guess what? They went out of business. They got sold for like $5 million, like a fraction of the 150 million that they raised. So I just look at your business with the authenticity and like what you mean to like your community of people, the jiu-jitsu community, the mixed martial arts community, the Jersey community, and it's growing crazy. And it's like, you are the face of this company, and it's so authentically you. When I met you, I said it to you right away. I was like, I got to get you on my podcast. I got to include you in this book. You're everything that I'm like trying to get the heart out.
You really need to get off onto the right foot, man. So like everything in the beginning that all started in 2013 was like, dude, I need to get off onto the right foot. And another thing too, like when I met my wife, man, in 2014, it was kind of like, I've been in some bad relationships that failed, and ultimately, man, like it's really hard to win the race if you don't get off the starting line correctly. So like you got to really make sure, like when you're starting a business or you're starting a relationship, that like you're truthful, you're honest with yourself, and you're honest with everyone who's involved. And you really need to be aware of what the fuck is going on, and you don't want to set yourself up for failure. And it all starts at the beginning. So I think like being extremely transparent with myself, then my staff, my customers, like full transparency with things. So there's no surprises, and people know what they're getting, and everything matches, you know. I'm not like I don't know, like if you remember when that hurricane, like when that hurricane happened in Texas or whatever, and people were trying to go and get refuge in Joel Osteen's mega church, and he locked the doors, like, you know, that's really off brand. Like, dude, you're this fucking guy preaching the Lord, and you have people in need, and you lock them out of your mega church. Like, it's just off brand. So, you know, I'm just trying to stay true, man. I'm trying to stay true. And I'm sure Joel Osteen had a fucking logical explanation, but it was like a really bad hit for his brand. It was really memorable, you know, put like a really bad taste in people's mouths, and they remember that. But whether he had a legitimate reason to do that or not, people remember it, and it sticks out because it goes against what he stands for. And like, you always just got to really be, you know, really aware, like, what do you stand for? You know, what's important to you, and what is meaningful to you? What is your fucking moral code? What are your do's and don'ts? And it's almost like you have these 10 commandments or whatever commandments in your body, like in your soul, that you follow at all times. People pay attention to that, you know. People don't pay attention. Like, yeah, words, especially now with all fucking shit going on, words are fucking crazy, man. That words can really get you in trouble, but we still over the lifetime, and humans and everything, man, actions, you know, your words and your actions got to align, and you can't, you know, just, you got to be honest. It really starts
where do you think you developed this mentality? Was this from your father?
You know, when I look back at my mom and my dad, like they definitely did a good job. You know, I can't take anything away from them. It was a very unique childhood that I had. But ultimately, man, the recipe came together at the end. And obviously they have to get all the credit in the world for the way I turned out. I think like through my own experiences, I've seen where my failures occurred, and a lot of my relationships, like my failed relationships that I paid attention to, like sometimes the writing is on the wall, and where that all occurs, where shit falls the fuck apart. Like if you are not truthful, if you are not self-aware, right? If you are not aware of what's going on, you're not truthful of what's going on, then like trust is one of those things that's easily broken. And once trust is broken, then like you can't really build or scale an organization. You can't build your family. You really can't build anything. So like it all starts with like honesty. Honesty breeds all the good things, all the trust, all the loyalty, all the shit that makes incredible teams. It starts with, honesty.
It's the hardest foundation and the deepest moat you can build around your competition when you are fully honest and transparent with your team and your organization, your customers, your vendors, your landlords, your service providers. I always say about the clothing business, who's good? How am I going to get my goods first? If 100 people buy clothes from the same vendor, they're going to send the first box to the one who pays and gives them the least hard time. I would imagine in your business, when you want to go get industrial amounts of chicken, you need to have a great relationship with your vendors. If you don't have great trust with these kind of guys, it's going to be a battle.
Yeah, dude, it is. It's all competition, man. You got to embrace it. Everything you do in life, man, that's why jiu-jitsu and fighting is so cool, because it's primal. If you want to get, the world can pretend to change all it wants, but humanity has been the same from the beginning of time. You're in this world, man, and you're competing, you're competing. You're competing every day with everything you do, with everyone around you. And you do need to build strong alliances with others who are, in fact, everyone's pulling in the same direction. You are building your network and you're building your alliances and you're building up all the people around you and everything's working together. But, the world is not a nice place, man. It's really not.
Yeah.
And
That's
you want to stand out.
That's why, that's part of this book. The book that I'm writing, Business Jiu-Jitsu, is about how the parallels play, how fighting and training on a regular basis prepares you to deal with all the crazy shit you're going to deal with in life and business. And business is going to kick you in the nuts. It's going to smack you around. It's going to pick you up and throw you on your head. And people often ask me, like, why do you train jiu-jitsu? Do you get in street fights? Like, are you going to fight somebody? And I was like, that's not the reason why I train. I train for my health, my mental health. I stay in shape, but it's also like, it's so many times when I didn't have the answer for something in business, jiu-jitsu gave me the answer. It's like problem solving under pressure, staying cool when there's just the feeling like the world is on you. And there's just so many clear metaphors.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Your wife is in the business with you, right?
Yeah, she's really stepping up into the mom role with the kids. Mm-hmm. And she also started her own balloon business, which is blowing up.
Oh, so wow.
Yeah, she's incredible, man. She is incredible. But we have like such a great management team here in New Jersey. We're building like the corporate team.
As you're walking around, I'm seeing all of your fleet of vans. Can you flip the screen so I could see the this fleet over here? Wow. How many trucks do you have on the road?
With Atlanta, we're in like 30 range. 30 something.
I'm sure you remember your first truck.
So I learned as I went, man, and my first van got totaled by a fucking 18-wheeler. I had this fucking kid who's probably high on dope fucking driving, which, not you learn as you go, man. You learn as you go. And I was always pretty cool with everybody, but when it comes to the safety of my employees and others, that was a really good lesson. No one got hurt. My van got totaled, but after that happened, man, we started to really fucking tighten the bolts on safety and all that other stuff. And then we started really improving the quality of hires we were making as well.
Yeah.
It's really funny. So when I started, I would always look for people who needed the job would always like pull on my heart. Like they need the job, right? But when you own a business, you don't hire who needs the job. You don't want the guy who needs the job. you want the person who's right for the job. So that was one of those things. That was like one of those learning curves, one of those lessons that, I want to help everybody, dude. I hate to see people suffering. I hate to see people in pain. I hate it. But you can't, I'm not Jesus, dude. I can't save the world. I have to do what's right for myself, my team, my family, and I have to bring in the right people to help me. I can't just start fucking saving the world, or else, dude, it'll all go away real fast. So
yeah, that's true.
So I do remember my first man.
Tell me about like when you started scaling this business up and started to make some of these really great executive hires and building out your executive team. How are you recruiting these people? Like now that you've got the right people in the right seats, what was that process like?
When we first started, I had my really good friend, John O'Connor, right? So I had John O'Connor. He was like the first friend I made when I started my new high school in Freehold. And then I had Kayla, my wife. And then I pulled my buddy, Chef John. We worked together at a restaurant, and he was really talented. And he ended up getting into it with one of the guys. So he was out of a job. I brought him in. He liked what he saw. He stuck around. And the four of us worked really hard, man, for a long time. And it was just us for a while. And then I brought in my now CFO, Joe, I used to work for Joe. That was the last job I had where I was fully self-employed. And I pulled him in because he's like just one of the best operating managers I ever seen. I had a lot of jobs that I got fired from before. Like, I'm pretty unemployable, I'm just pretty bad. So I did do, so anyway, man, I brought in Joe, and then Joe helped me with a lot of the new hires, but I've, we've been growing piece by piece.
What job was that? What job was Joe?
I think Joe was the director of operations. I think he started that at that role, and then I promoted him to like chief operating officer, and then CFO.
Which company before that your last job? What was that?
Oh, he had like a bar and restaurant in Long Branch and Pier Village. He was a partner at, so he was one of the owners, and then he had some shit go on with his partnership. So he became a free agent, started working in the hotels in New York City, and but he always, he stayed in Freehold and commuted to the city. So Joe and I like stayed in touch, and at one point I just said, "Hey man, like, what's it gonna take?" I always the joke used to be, what's the least amount of money I could pay you for you to come work for me full time? And I said that to my wife. I said that to John O'Connor. I said that to Chef John, and I said that to Joe. But I don't say that to people anymore. I don't have to say that to people anymore.
That's incredible. How many
I mean, but it was the truth,
Yeah. Listen, that's sometimes how it is to attract a great team, and you build these alliances and get people who really believe in you and the mission, and that's how you get and keep and retain great people. How many on the team now?
Well, I think it's like 150 with New Jersey and Atlanta. So yeah, if you add up all the consultants and shit, everybody, it's never fucking ends, man.
That's awesome, man. Well, let me let's wrap it up. I just want to say that nobody deserves more success and happiness than you. You have built something that is just so incredible, and you did it your way. Like Sinatra said, like my way. And it's such a lesson to everybody out there that when they're trying to figure it out and they're trying to be everybody else and they're trying to do other things, like, you have to go back to who you are. And sometimes you have to change who you are. Like you said, you have to realize that you have to grow and evolve and be the most honest and best version of yourself to build that foundation. And it was such a pleasure and honor meeting you. I can't wait to hang again. And
yes.
and I'm so excited to write about you in this book and include your story, because it is exactly what I hope we can, both you and I, inspire other people to do. Like, yes, you absolutely can do it. Don't worry about all those venture-backed VC, private equity bullshit. Like, just start something that you're passionate about and that you believe in, and do it with all your heart. And then the money and the success is going to come.
Yeah, and just to add to the VC thing, like, bro, if you can't do it with $1,000, what makes you think you can do it with $100 million? You know, like there is this very bizarre concept that people think money is this answer to things. Money is like people work really hard to get a shredded six pack. But if you took somebody who never worked out, never dieted, never really gave a shit about their fucking, physique or their build, and you woke them up one day with the best body, shredded six pack, everything, how long do you think they'd be able to maintain that physique, right? How long until they lost it all? It's the same thing with money. I used to think like, I am not a high net worth person. I mean, I would be if somebody tried to buy my business, but like, people, and this is not siding with or against Donald Trump, but they say Donald Trump got a loan for $2 million. Now I will tell you this. You can give 2 million people $2 million. You will not get one guy who did what Donald did with that $2 million. And it's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard pill to swallow that there's girls in the world who would kick my ass. It was a hard pill for me to swallow to admit that a plate of barbecue is a better meal than a couple slices of pizza. But man, people are delusional about money. Like, money is power. And if you don't know how to harness that power, dude, it is a fucking life-ruining thing that will fucking destroy you from the inside. It's like crazy. People have all these opinions about tax the rich or this or that. But, dude, if I got on TV and tried to talk about maybe, if I got on TV and tried to talk about what it's like to be, a woman or anything, right? They would fucking murder me. I would get scorched. I would be the fucking biggest bad guy in the world. But how many poor people or people with low income, they talk about what it's like to have money like they got 15 million in the bank, and it's like, it's funny, right? Like there's these just delusions of what money is or how to use it, or it is the hardest fucking thing you'll ever learn how to do is handle money and be disciplined with money. Financial discipline was one of the hardest things ever, man. So hard. It's disgusting how hard it is. It's like holding the push-up position, I love, I don't know, man. I don't come from money, dude. I don't come from money. So I had to learn a lot, but,
what is there a universal truth that you've learned? Like what is like one of the most important things off the top of your head that you've learned about it?
Dude, fuck a Rolex, fuck a big house, save your fucking money, dude. If I would have known now what I knew then, really, man, what I would have really liked is to someday have my money make money, have your money work for you. And there's a lot of things like in life where, I bought the nice watch and I got like nice things. And I'm like, why the fuck do I even have this, dude? Like, this was stupid, The amount of fucking shit that Bitcoin and all that crypto did, and Amazon and Tesla and all these companies that went on fire. You're like, damn, dude, like, what? I didn't buy that. Like, I bought this instead. And it's like, I don't regret it. I mean, I'm happy I have what I have. But, when I'm talking to other entrepreneurs and they're like, oh, I want this Rolex, I'm like, dude, don't. Or if you do really want the Rolex, if the Rolex is 10,000, tip yourself, right? I was a bartender, right? 20%, dude. Put 2 G's on a company you like and leave it there. Every time you buy something expensive, take whatever it was, take 20% of what it was and pop it on some company stock, That's financial advice.
This is a little game my wife and I like to play called Invest It. Whenever we're about to go and spend on something, we sometimes we look at each other and we're like, fuck it, let's just invest it. And we're like, just go buy some stock or invest in a company or do something else with the money. And so, she was going to buy me an e-bike for Father's Day. And it was like $2,500. And I was like, I don't want an e-bike. I have no use for an e-bike. Invest it. So we just like took that $2,500 and we threw it in a company called Clean Cult, which I actually put on my Instagram yesterday. They just raised $25 million, Series A. So I was able to invest in this company as an angel investor, and they're blowing up. Yeah,
nice.
So I haven't gotten anything back, but that e-bike would have been collecting dust, and now it's got the chance to go sky high. So I love that concept of yours of tip yourself. That's a really, really good one.
Yeah. And dude, people have this misconception that you need millions of dollars to get started. Like, so Sal's brother, Joey, told me to buy this altcoin, Hex. Bought it back in May. I threw $500 on it. It's fucking 11 grand right now. So
Crazy.
like, you don't need, dude, that's a big win. In a couple
Huge.
months, $500 is 11 grand. Like, $500 is 11 grand. Like, now just, I hope, I can't, the shit I said about money, it was not meant to offend anybody. It was meant to fucking get people to just look. You don't have all the fucking answers. If you don't have money in your life, man, maybe just take a second and learn from some people, right? Try to get an understanding and a knowledge, and try to be around people who do have money. Your network is your net worth, and the people you spend the most time with, ultimately you turn into. So just, try to learn. There's too many fucking know-it-alls in the world. There's too many broke people talking like they have it all figured out. They need to step back and just learn and try to be better. And that's in all aspects of life. I'm always trying to learn. I think I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to listen. But yeah, it is incredibly frustrating when same thing with like jujitsu, right? People who don't know jujitsu would be like, yo, why doesn't he just get up? Okay.
Very good parallel.
Get on the fucking ground and let me see you get up. All right. Because I'm a fucking one stripe white belt and you can't get up with me, let alone like a fucking bro. You got fucking Gordon Ryan on top of you, bro. You're not ever getting up. I'll give you a knife. I'll give you a fucking knife. You're not getting up. So
I just to put a little mustard on that hot dog, I went down to Puerto Rico to go train with Gordon and John Donahar and those guys, and Nicky Rod walks into the room, and when you made me look like someone's little brother, he made me look like an infant, and they said, hey, you go with him, and he got on top of me to mount, and I was to escape the position. He was putting less than half of 1% of energy. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 12 years. I couldn't move. That's how much better he is than me. He is stratospheres better. So like when you see these guys on TV and you're like, why don't they just get up? It's because that guy is the best athlete that you've ever come across. It's crazy.
There's just illusions, and
yeah,
and it's hard. Like it is hard to even explain to people. Like, dude, you are so wrong. Like, I don't even know how to start to begin to explain how wrong you are. And like, jiu-jitsu, it's easy to understand because you train, but for somebody who doesn't train, they don't get it. And then with the way the world is and the media and all these people talking about politics and economics, and it's like, dude, I don't know shit about politics, but I do know basic economics, and the shit you're talking about right now is so far away from any, like, so theoretically incorrect. Like, geez, it is scary, man. We live in a fucking weird time.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take this fucking thing down or go sideways here. It's supposed to be a positive podcast.
No, it's all good. We've made a really good impact today. I'm very grateful for your time. Very grateful to get to know you, and really looking forward to seeing you again soon. I just wanted to share my screen very momentarily so everybody knows where to find you for the few people who aren't familiar with your brand. But Eat Clean Bro is an amazing brand, and God, what you've built is just incredible.
Thank you. Just to take this back, to be positive, anybody here who trains jiu-jitsu knows what I'm talking about. When you get onto that mat and you do what it takes to compete, you know what goes into it. All the shit I said about the news and the people and people talking about shit they don't understand, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there are people who have no idea.
I think you did a good job. I think you did a very good job of working it through and explaining it. And I didn't take any offense to it. And anybody who did, well, too bad.
Yeah, man, toughen up, dude. Fuck, life's not gonna get any easier. I could tell you that. So it only gets harder. But you got to adapt, right? You got to overcome.